Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. How we doing out there? Welcome to the Closing Beats, a stock market update show that we do every day to go over the stock market, and give you the update, tell you how things are going there. Hope you're having a good day out there. We're going to just dive into it, man. We're going to do it. We're financial advisors here. You know what to do. You see this as you're looking at my chest every day. If you want to check out the website, that's cool. But I'm here to teach. I want to show you something interesting, something new. I also want to review the markets, let you know how things are going, just give you a quick update there. And then I'll take your questions at the end if you happen to stick around long enough to care. So let's do it. Hey, you want to play a game? It's called Guess the Dow. Go over to jazzwealth.com/guess the Dow. $100 gift card to those who win, or closest without going over if you're not a customer, or we'll credit your account $100 if you are a customer. So I hope you'll check that out. Feel free to play, and it's not very hard. Our developer here was the worst guess of all last week's guesses. Bottom. This is the very last, furthest away from guessing correctly. So yeah, there's not much competition. It's $100, no strings attached. Hey, let's take a look at the stock market. S&P a little bit lower on the day. You got the Dow lower on well, they were all lower on the day. It's all red. You could see it there. Just kind of a pullback day. And I don't have a lot to say in terms of what you can learn from today. We're always looking at the market saying, well, what happened? What's the deal? What was the news? What causes certain moves? And what can we expect going forward? I don't know that you learned anything today. Here's kind of the crazy part. You got the S&P pulling back a little bit. It started the day higher, actually. We were moving higher, and then Pelosi said she wasn't going to do the individual stimulus deals there with the airlines, and Steve Mnuchin came out and said, we can't get a deal done before the election at this point, right? It's just too late to make it happen. Stock market sold off a little bit, kind of quickly, but we didn't fall that 60 points. Remember the other day we fell to 60 points right away when the stimulus deal was sort of priced out? Well, we know 60 points is in there. We didn't get it today. It was just sort of floating back like everybody just assumed there was going to be no stimulus. We talked about that last week and earlier this week, how stimulus was already priced in, right? We saw that. We were able to see it last week. And so because of that, you had just a little bit of a down day here today. Handful of FANG names pulled back today. You got Facebook down about 1.5%. I think Google held up okay, only about 1/4% lower there. Netflix a little bit rough today. Actually, we're going to do it this way. Netflix down 2.25%. Amazon pulled back, but it just did little pullbacks. They've been extended stocks. They've done well. I don't think there's really any reason to sort of panic or see anything interesting there. Tesla got a little move higher, a little more attractive there in terms of the day's performance relative strength. But other than that, there's not much to say on the S&P, so it's just a little bit of a pullback day. I know a lot of the bulls out there are hoping for more of a pullback, so we'll see what happens. I'll go on over to the Russell 2000 today because that pulled back a little bit and has actually been keeping pace with the NASDAQ's performance over the last month. It's been a beast. And so today the small cap growth stocks really pulled back just a little bit because they really did the heavy lifting on the way up there. So a lot of weakness in biotech if you're looking over into Russell 2000 there. Over the last 3 months, it's performed better than the S&P to the tune of 5%, but it's still the weakest index overall. So that's the furthest to go to get back to highs. Little pullback today. I don't think it's a big deal. If you look at the NASDAQ real quick, just a little bit of a pullback there, 1.25%. Comes in third place in terms of performance today, stock market-wise. Let's verify that. Yeah, it comes in third place with its loss today, and not bad. I mean, a lot of the biotech stocks took the day off there, and those FANG names I mentioned already. So that's pretty much it market-wise. If you want some sort of helpful fin tips, we call them, go to our YouTube channel, bottom right-hand corner of your page. They're on a playlist. We call it Fin Tips playlist on our YouTube channel. We did dividend stocks by volatility in October, so we did that, expanded on that in our research site. We did refinance or not today. How do you know? What should you kind of calculate? We went through an exact scenario today to show an example of someone who had a 30-year mortgage, wanted to refinance. Should they, for the better rate, talked about all the dollars there. And Friday, we're going to do tax-free Roth conversions. If that's something that you're doing this year or want to try to do a Roth conversion, how can we try to do it in a tax-free way? Possibly, right? See what we can do. On our research site, this is just something we offer for people that can't be customers. You want to check it out? You go to jazzwealth.com/research. It's $13 a month. We just put it there so people can participate in some of the geeky research and stuff that we offer here. You can go through and check it out. There are some posts, there are some videos. For example, best stocks in October. I just kind of break it all down for you there, give you all the stats and geeky stuff there. Hope you check that out. We've got a cool one coming up here. We've got market election statistics, an actual metric that has predicted the outcome of the election 100% of the time. So we'll be sharing the data with you on that one. See what you think. It's going to upset some people. It's going to make some people happy. It's politics season. And then we've got most volatile stocks and least volatile stocks during earnings season with all the great data. I'm going to go over a little bit of that today on our watch list with you there. But for now, let's move on over to our sector breakdown. I just have a few things actually here. Energy was where all the action was today. It was kind of a wild area there. Energy did finish in second place. For a lot of the day, it was the best performing area of the market there. Big gainers. You got Concho Resources. They are potentially getting bought out by ConocoPhillips there. So they had the biggest gain, 10% on the day. Some of our weaker names, these are stocks that we just happen to own that are the weaker energy stocks that we own. So just trying to be fair, show you we don't have all winners here. PDC had a decent day. PDC had a good day on the day. That is the one, yep. We also had, what is the matter with this thing? There we go. Diamondback Energy, it did float back a little bit, but it was holding up there most of the day. Williams Brand's one of our better ones there, up 1.75% today. Not too bad, showing a little bit of signs of life there. What's interesting is if you look over to the other different industries, like the oil service stocks, oil explorers, like using the XOP, they kind of held up today too. You got a 3.5% yield on the XOP, but it's down 50% year to date. I don't know if, now's the time, but, something like that's interesting. OIH is another ETF that tracks the oil service industry there. Got over a 6% yield, but it's down 60% year to date. You've got some hedge funds out there that are starting to say the energy area is attractive because of what yield is left and how deeply discounted everything is. If you look inside of there, you might have things like Schlumberger, SLB is a ticker symbol. That showed a little relative strength today, and I thought NOV did well. National Oil well. Look, it's beaten down, but it's hanging in there as of today. You got financials down just a little bit on the day. This is the sector that had the most earnings today, right? So we talked about this yesterday. You had Goldman Sachs come in on the day. You had Wells Fargo report earnings down 6%. You had Bank of America was the other to report earnings, of the big names anyways. Remember the stats, right? Goldman Sachs, it traded flat. Do you remember the stats from yesterday when we talked about that? I showed you the actual earnings, and Goldman Sachs tends to do what? Tends to beat on earnings most of the time, beat on revenue most of the time, but because of that, the stock barely moves on earnings. What happened today? The stock barely moved, right? So algorithms and all the big systems that trade, they know when the stock was higher today, they know that it's overvalued or overpriced for the day. And so you saw the stock just float right back to flat throughout the day. That is a perfect example of having a stock actually perform right alongside its historical statistics there. If you want to see that breakdown, check out our video from yesterday. We actually went through them one by one. Remember, Bank of America was on the list as well. And what was the lesson on Bank of America yesterday? That it likes to gap down on average. And then what? It likes to gap down and sell off. What did it do today? It gapped down and it sold off. So the stats are not just for me to show you, look at all the data that we can pull. It's to show you what to expect. And so if you own Bank of America and you saw it gap down and sell off today, you're okay with that, right? It was supposed to do that. Maybe not to this extreme, but at least you know the general mood and feeling of the stock overall. So that was cool. That was really, really cool to get to share that with you ahead of time instead of saying now, oh, by the way, that's the stat. So I love doing that. Financials, by the way, still the second worst performing sector overall. It's a tough place to be. You got industrials hinting at making new highs there. One of the better sectors. We'll go over here so you can see. One of the better sectors over lately. It's hovering between being positive and negative year to date there. Airlines were kind of interesting today in that space, even though they kind of got dumped on. They're not going to get new stimulus. Whether you agree or not, it doesn't matter. They're at the moment not getting the individual stimulus there. Alaska Airlines still higher because they're burning through less cash than expected. United Airlines about 1% higher, not too bad there. American Airlines 1% higher as well. Very tough area to be investing. The rails continue to be the strongest area of the industrials. You got CSX railroads there. Norfolk Southern is the other one. Those are the strongest areas in the industrials, if you're curious. Looking over communication services real quick, the weakness here was just because of Facebook and Google was the drag. One interesting one to continue with a lesson, talked about T-Mobile being extended yesterday and giving you the topping tail. Right? You could actually go to the class at this very moment, watching yesterday, we talked about this topping tail not being attractive for starting a new entry, right? You want to wait for it to pull back. I had no idea it would pull back this much, and you really don't like it that it pulls back this much. The bottom line is profit taking, carrying over from yesterday. Good lesson on that one yesterday as well. Lots of good stuff going on here. Let's move on to new highs, new lows. Okay, new highs today. The thing says 23. I'll agree with it today. Here's a couple of them for you. Pool Corp. This one we did a whole write-up on a research site. If you're not familiar with what they do, this is the last time I'll point this out. You can actually go through. We broke down everything about them there, performance, how they're doing, compared to the S&P, all that great stuff. So if you want to check that out, that's in the research site. But they are the most recent addition to the S&P 500 and killing it. Doing really well there. New highs today. Can't argue with that if you happen to be investing in it or in the S&P, helping you out. IDEX, a little bit of a pullback here. Remember, this looks like T-Mobile. Got a topping tail today. You got average volume. It was kind of, the whole sector was weak today, so we'll give it a pass a little bit. But you got a big topping tail there after being extended, so I want to point that out. Otis, check this out. A little consolidation here. There you go. It is just teasing you that it wants to break out. I don't know that it will, but at the moment, you've got that series of equal highs there. I'll leave the line. We'll come back to it and see what happens with that one, but I thought that was interesting. Paycom continues to be extended, even though it hasn't pulled back just quite yet. It's not something you want to chase. It's a very, very difficult one there. And Caterpillar, I mean, it's been a good mover. Hit new highs today. Also a little extended. You get the feel of what's going on out there. Lots of stocks have had good moves. They're extended. They need to pull back. They need to relax. They don't need to keep going and get more extended because then it makes the drop all the much more that severe, like T-Mobile. We don't want to see that. All right. That's what I got for you. That's what I got for you. I'm going to think about this for a second because, I got it on my... Got it on this guy here. I want to check something out here with you. We're going to do on our watch list today, we're going to do the most volatile stocks for earnings season. I just want to give you the data. You know, it's going to be a part of this here. So I'm going to just dive in here. Let's take a look at it. We're going to look, we've got earnings season, final earnings season before the end of the year, right? And so what we do is look to see, typically, you know, this time of year, we'll look to see what are the most volatile stocks. If you own them, right, we've gone over the best performers and all that stuff. I've been sort of feeding all that out there, but let's go through most volatile here, and we'll start by going over to the right page. That's it. There you go. Okay, let's take a look here. So, there we go. Inferno. There we go. Perfect. Nope. Why is this? I think my battery's dying on this guy here. It is dying. Okay. So Inferno. Here we go. So this is the most volatile stock on earnings here. They beat on earnings 80% of the time, revenue 70% of the time. However, the average volatility is plus or minus a 15% move on earnings, right? Meaning they're going to report earnings on November 5th. It ranks as the most volatile stock. It's also not the most popular, so you may not own it, but you should know that plus or minus 15%, you could probably look at this chart and guess where previous earnings are if you happen to just look at it, but that ranks as the most volatile. Second in line there, you got Stamps.com, 13.5%, also reports on November 11th. They tend to beat on earnings quite often, 88% of the time, revenue 80% of the time. The average move is a 4% gain for Stamps.com, which is good. We happen to own it, so we want to see that. But 13% volatility, meaning plus or minus 13%. This thing can really move. It can be quite volatile, so you should know that if you own it or own a lot of it. You might imagine Netflix in the mix there. Netflix ranks in fourth place there, 12%, right? So that probably doesn't sound like a lot for Netflix, but this one tends to be really volatile, and it wraps itself around the addition to subscribers. So if you happen to be looking at that, that's the other one there. You've got Glue Mobile here, a little bit limited data. They only beat on earnings 59% of the time, revenue 83% of the time. The average move is down 2% basically there, and has a range, a potential range of 12%. So this is one that could be a pretty severe mover there. You might recognize the other name on the list there, iRobot. The thing that your dog eats while it drives around and cleans your house. So iRobot's done really well lately. Back to highs, stay at home, people buying stuff, clean up the house a little bit more there. You can imagine that. Average move on this one, flat, right? So the average move is flat, but you have a potential range of 12%, right? So when we look at the volatility there, you go, oh gosh, man, that could be a lot if they happen to disappoint on earnings or even do much better than expected. So just be ready for that. Fossil, they're still around. Okay, so Fossil ranks as the, what would that be, the sixth one? Sixth most volatile stock. And again, we look back the last 10 years. All right, so we're taking the average performance over the last 10 years to look and see the weakness there. Average move in Fossil there is 0.6%, 12% range. Very volatile there. And lastly, Vera Bradley. So Vera Bradley ranks in there, 1.6% average move, 11% volatility to be expected there. They report on December 9th. So these are, in that order, those are officially the most volatile stocks that report earnings coming up here. And what we did is on the research site, we actually put a list of, I believe, like 25 of them, maybe 30 different ones, ranked them all in order. And then we looked on the flip side and we said that's going to be the least volatile. So if you happen to own those names, you could probably guess, right? Verizon ranks as one of the least volatile stocks, but there is a whole host of REITs and energy stocks on that list. It's dominated by REITs and energy. So we'll go ahead and explain that, put that on our research site for you that want to play along. But volatility is just so important. I mean, if you don't know to expect it, think of the Goldman Sachs thing that we just taught you yesterday and today. If you knew to expect that, you didn't do anything. You maybe weathered the storm. If you knew about Bank of America, you knew it was coming. If you know something's going to be volatile, it allows you to get your mind right. It's like a storm. If it just comes out of nowhere, it freaks you out, right? You don't know what to do. But if you know it's coming, you do a little preparation, then you just sit back and do what you got to do. So that's it. That's our watch list for today. Hope you enjoyed it. All right, moving on here. Now that I've got that all set up there. All right, stocks in the news. Here we go. We'll go over to the charts. How about that? No, let's do this way. There we go. That'll work. All right, stocks in the news. First of all, you got Best Buy. I'm sorry. Bed Bath & Beyond there. They're going to sell some of their assets, one of them being the Christmas tree shop. They're going to sell it. Anyways, stock was higher because that's going to help them save money, free up money to remodel their stores. They want to redo their entire store. They want to limit the number of products in the store. That's a good idea. I don't know how many soup spoons we need or whatever, but so they're going to limit down the size of the store, try to target more high profitable products that they can sell. Good news, stock's moving higher, 8% today. That's the reason why. We look at Micron Technology. So Micron got a comment from a analyst at Citigroup that said their profit margins are improving, especially in DRAM, which has been a highly kind of focused area for them lately with all the supply issues. And stock was basically flat, but basically got an upgrade today. Not officially an upgrade, but that was kind of interesting for them. I thought, put that in the mix. All right, there we go. Pilgrim's Pride. They had a bit of a price fixing scandal there. They're going to pay $110 million to settle their price fixing charges there. And I don't know. I think there's going to be a little bit more there. Stock was higher. Why would it be higher? Because that's beyond us now, right? It'd been beaten down on all that news. Okay, it's not investable. And now the news is behind us. They're going to pay the money. They're going to move on. They're going to grow from this. Hopefully they don't try to fix prices or anything like that again. And that's what we have there. United Healthcare beat on earnings today. Well, actually, they beat by quite a bit. They beat by 43 cents there. Revenue came in better than expected. Guidance was raised there. A lot of concern going forward, actually. Stock was down just a little bit, 3%, but after being kind of extended as well. So no real problem there. And lastly, Wynn Resorts says demand is just not really there as much as we thought. So they're going to reduce their operating hours, very similar to Disney, because of low consumer demand. Stock really didn't move on that news, so not a big deal there. If you have questions, feel free to post them now. I'll try to answer your questions once the stream catches up. In the meantime, I'll let you know that tomorrow we got Schwab reporting earnings, Morgan Stanley, banks aren't done here. You're also going to have Taiwan Semiconductors. What happens from here, by the way, big banks reported, now we go to big tech, right? Just so you know kind of what watch list to expect and stuff coming forward. We do big banks, now we move on to big tech because they're going to be the next to report, all the big guys there. Anyways, you got Taiwan Semiconductors, Walgreens, Intuitive Surgical, Martin Transport. Remember we had we had 5 Fed members speaking today. We have 4 Fed members speaking tomorrow. They're out there. They're out there pushing for stimulus too. Dividends, you got PNC Bank $1.15. That's probably going to stay the same. Lennar a quarter, the home builder paying out a quarter. And Keurig Dr. Pepper will be joining us in the NASDAQ 100 if you didn't hear the good news. All right, let's see what we can do there. I love it. Over here, and I'm ready. All right, we got tech stocks look a bit weak, but you don't see much downfall in the earnings season. Volatility, yes. I don't know about the downfall. I think some of the big names, Facebook, Google, and things like that, is going to be, the focus is going to be on how they handle or are preparing to handle any continuing antitrust concerns. If they have to implement different strategies, how they're going to pay for that. What are they thinking? And so on conference calls, that'll be the focus for those, I think. Yep. Insurance stocks in the financial sector. Yeah, I mean, we did a breakdown of these a while back where some of these insurers were, in the financial space, were actually underperforming. You probably know that. You can see that there. I think Progressive just reported earnings. Did they not? Progressive might have been today. Yeah, they did report earnings today, beat by quite a bit there. So Progressive would be your outlier. Allstate would probably be your underperformer, if I had to guess. Yep. And Walmart at the end of earnings season. There you go. Somebody's paying attention. Somebody's paying attention. Is it safe to say whenever stimulus news is in the headlines, gold does well? It's an interesting correlation there. Gold did do well today, up $9 by the time it got to its official close there. I don't know. Maybe markets are higher one day and because they actually do it. I'll keep that in mind, though, to work on that for a title. I love it. Nick said, or what? Can you touch on a trade plan for a tech reporting weeks ahead and using the VIX to make money? I don't use the leveraged ETFs there. UVXY would be out of the question. If you're just going to day trade it or buy it for one day over the other, that's of course, normal and fine. But no holding those overnight. So I wouldn't be a big help on that. Keep in mind, the ETF themselves tells you not to do it. They're telling you that they're going to charge you so much that it's not worth it, and there's too much risk there. Yeah. You want to compare the VOO versus the Qs. Not sure what you mean there. You want to compare the S&P versus the Qs. Did that in the beginning for you. 13 bucks and you, oh, thanks. Yep. You're right. And you can physically cancel at any time, right? So we're not one of those where you got to call us and we're gonna, you missed your billing date. You actually have the ability to do it. So if you just want to try it, month goes by, you don't like it, you control all of that. We can't stop you. Right? Charlie? Right. That's right? Okay, good. Same, we're making promises out there. When you refer to being able to put the $100 from Guess the Dow into a client's account and not counting towards the maximum contributions, are there other ways to add additional funding to a Roth? Yeah, you come by the warehouse, you give me $1,000, I'll credit you $1,000. No, I'm not saying that in any way. No, there's really no way to put extra money into an account. No, I mean, there's no good answer there. But I like the thought. Well, maybe there's something we can do there. I like it. What would your thoughts be on the insurance companies? Oh yeah, I did cover that for a second there. You missed it. Hit the rewind button. You should be able to rewind even in real time. Could you break down which sectors are strong each month, just like how utilities was September and healthcare back in May? Can we break down what sectors are strong each month? Meaning going forward, like which sectors are the strongest? I would love to. He's going to kill me, but we're actually trying to play with the idea of building these tools for research customers as well. So you guys would be able to do it. I love it. International funds in a Roth or taxable account. Depends on what else you have. Can you have it in either or? Also depends on what you're trying to do with it. Are you buying it for the short term, mid-term? Are you buying it for some dividend I don't know about? So there's more than just that question there. So more to talk about. I think I've done it. I think I did it today. I'm going to wrap it up there. We have earnings, right? That's the big focus, earnings. We're going to be talking a lot more about that. Going through the different sectors with you, just keep trying to teach you everything and give you the heads up like we did. Seriously, the Goldman Sachs, Bank of America kind of lesson from yesterday was really cool to be able to see how that works and then watch it happen in real time and see the sort of review today. So I'd like to do a lot more of that going forward. Just have to find time. So I will start working on that. You guys enjoy the rest of your day. If you would, hit the subscribe button. That helps us. If people are watching, they like it, to keep subscribing. Makes us keep making videos. We like doing it. So I'll be back tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.